Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. It is Friday night. It's also February 16th. It's also the recognized stream anniversary here for this channel. A long 6 years doing this pretty dang consistently, just for the hell of it. And I'm still having fun doing it. It's taken different forms over the last 6 years, slightly, but generally has remained the same. Generally has served its purpose of my therapy and also the small creative outlet that it is. So yeah, I always say, I don't know how much longer it'll last, but I'm enjoying it as I do it still to this day. And I feel like I would be in quite a different place if I was to not have taken the plunge and done this 6 years ago, start doing this 6 years ago. And just want to say, obviously that's the main purpose for the channel, right? But then there's the small other purpose of anyone who randomly stumbles across the channel and enjoys any videos I ever do. I always say, then that's only added bonus to the whole thing. So happy 6 years to this dumb little channel. Hello. So in honor of the 6 years, I spent all of 13 seconds making a graphic. Let me see if I can pop it on the... Holy shit, look at all the time spent on this. It's amazing. Not at all thought of to be done at the last second. There it is. I think, I don't know how long I've been doing this, but I know I did it last year because I was like, oh man, it would be cool to I was like, it would be cool to have like announcements at like the anniversary. But like the thing is, like I don't really have a ton of announcements to make ever, like honestly ever. But I still like the tradition in a sense, and like I said, I don't know if I've done it. I've done trailers before of games I'm playing, and but like anniversary announcement, I think it was just last year, but I could be wrong. But it was last year that I had said, oh, I will, I think it was last year. It was this time last year that I announced I was going to undertake Umineko. And then shortly thereafter, I did all of Umineko. And that was announced, I know, last year. I don't know what else I announced last year, though. And I didn't bother to check or try to see. I guess I could have maybe checked if the thing was still there. I don't know. Impossible to understand, impossible to know or check. So I thought it only felt right then to then take this time a year later and also announce that Higurashi I will be doing sooner than you think. In fact, I'm willing to nail it down specifically. The 24th of this month, we're going to start Higurashi. That is a week and a day from today. Saturday night, the 24th, not later today. The 24th. I'm giving a little bit of leadway, a little bit of like, it's coming, get ready, Higurashi. The same thing we did with Umineko, we're going to do the same thing with Higurashi. I don't know where, I'll have to do research and see where it goes, but yeah, it's probably going to be another almost year-long undertaking. I fully understand, but that's, I'm ready for it. I'm built for that, you know? Ready for it. So I'm ready for it at least. I don't know if anyone else is ready for it. All things considered. Announcements other than that, I mean, this game, I've already been saying that I was going to play it and I've been excited about it, but like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, that's coming out. I think that comes out on the 29th, on the leap day. I will be off work. I will be playing that all day on the 29th probably, or a good portion of that day. So, yeah, that's also another game coming up in the very, very near future. So, again, I'm excited for it. I don't know if anyone else is, but I was like, I'll stick in the announcements because it's coming up close and I'm very excited about it. But pretty much, in theory, in the next week and a half, those are going to be like the two bigger games on the channel. Final Fantasy VII, because those are going to be obviously massive, lengthwise. So that's, well, other friends join the stream. I see what you're saying. My real life friends, are they as interested in Higurashi? I think they are. I have to double check because I haven't even told them. I let them know that it's happening sometime this year, but I don't know. I haven't told them that I was planning on doing it soon. So I don't know. They're interested, I think, but I don't know if it's gonna be. It's a toss that in the air. It's a maybe not. I guess I should say not maybe. That doesn't make sense. Um, and then on this piece of paper, I wrote two more things on the bigger game side because these are like on the slightly bigger side, right? Maybe not as massive as Higurashi and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, but this is a game that I've been meaning to play, and let me see if I can put myself on camera here so you're gonna see my ugly face for a second. I've been holding on to this for the longest of time. That's right. It can be read. Okay. I was wondering if it's going to be reversed. AI the Somnium Files, big old collector's edition box that I have here. I've been sitting on this thing for like the longest of time. And I was like, damn, when am I going to get to this Nirvana initiative? I guess I should say not just the Somnium Files. I've had this for a long time. And it's definitely going to happen this year. It needs to happen this year. But this is probably gonna be started once I'm setting like a timeline, right? We got timelines going, so you can always refer back to this video if you need to double check. But as of right now, and all these are subject to change, I should say, so obviously subject to change. But the Somnium Files will begin probably soon after Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is done. Again, that's going to be a massive game. But if we're thinking chronologically, big games wise, think Higurashi and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth happening around the same time. As soon as we finish Rebirth, soon after that, Somnium Files Nirvana Initiative should be happening. Obviously, smaller games thrown out throughout that you don't have to worry about. It's just easier for me to think about bigger, what I think about as bigger games, you know. And then the last game I wrote down here just because I was like, I don't know. And this is going to be probably like way later in the year. But I'm also going to try to really get to, and this is going to be obviously after Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, after Nirvana Initiative, AI Somnium Files. After those, at some point, Nebulous, sometime this year. Cyberpunk 2077. I'm actually really excited to start that at some point. But again, those are coming. That's going to come like probably like second half of the year. So that's as I was sitting at work today. Those are the list of things. I was like, those are big games. If you want to throw the term tentpole games for the channel, that you could look forward to. Obviously, subject to change. But yeah, that's a schedule of things. Like I said, Higurashi obviously and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, amongst a couple of small games, probably for the immediate future. Because those two games are going to be big. Obviously, we know obviously how big Higurashi will be. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is probably going to be, for me, probably like triple-digit hours, probably. The way they're talking about it, so. Those are going to be long. Did I manage to finish the other side stuff? Yes. Your Turn to Die is now permanently on hiatus until it gets updated. My assumption was it was going to be, I have a feeling sometime this year more side stories are going to get released and not the actual official update. I bet the official update gets put out. If I had to place money on it, sometime next year is my bet. And that they're just going to release more side stories to please people, I think. Like I said, all things subject to change. Anything I announce ahead, generally that's why I don't do or announce games too early. But I felt comfortable enough with just naming 4 things. Honestly, just because in my head that's what I do all the time. As far as scheduling for the channel and things I want to play is I think of like the bigger games, and then I kind of roughly put those out throughout the year. And then obviously there's small things that randomly get thrown in. So obviously small games, plenty of small to medium games throughout those 4 things happening throughout the year as well. Like I said, over the next week or week and a half, let me see. Yeah, over the next like week and a half, 2 weeks before hopefully Final Fantasy comes out. In a perfect world, Yakuza Kiwami I finish. We'll be done with, I would assume, Noja. I assume we're getting close to finishing Noja. Gravity Rush 2 should also... Gravity Rush 2, I want to finish this weekend. I have a long weekend here. I have Monday off. So if we need to... yeah. Gravity Rush 2 needs to be finished this weekend. I can confidently say that. So then, really, over the next week and a half or so, we're going to, like, clean the plate. Expect a lot of Yakuza Kiwami. Am I gonna 100% Yakuza? I'm gonna 100% literally everything? Probably not. Because I wanted to 100% everything in 0 back when I played it originally. And until I got towards the very end and did a lot of stuff. And then I was like, oh, 100%ing would be like, there's some minutia things that I just didn't do. But if it's like 0, I want to do all the big side games. I want to do all the sub stories if I can. I want to obviously do the main story. That's generally how I'm going to, how I'd put it. If it's similar to 0. But I don't know 100%, so we kind of have to see how that goes. But that's the intention. I want to get as much as I can out of it. But in saying that, that's mostly going to mean that, like, don't be surprised if, like, next week you see a lot of just Yakuza streams. Because that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be a Yakuza channel for a week. As I get ready for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth coming out soon. So, I guess technically Higurashi, right? On Saturday. Not tomorrow Saturday, but a week from tomorrow Saturday. I'm nervous about Higurashi, but same nervousness I was for Umineko for different reasons. So, that's all done. I already did I guess just put it out there. I already secured copies of Higurashi, all the different arcs. I've modded them correctly as far as I can tell. I modded them. I then copied a copy of apparently chapter 4, which then you do put the console arcs and mod the console arcs onto chapter 4 for a different thing. So then you have 2 copies of Chapter 4, and the one's modded for the console arcs, because you need to do that so that you don't spoil your normal run through Chapter 4. I did a lot of research a while back. Let me just tell you when I was doing this. And I'm just hoping I didn't screw it up in the end. Any expectations on Higurashi? I don't know. Content-wise, I assume it's going to have a different vibe. In my head, I think slightly less, like, mystery. And for some reason in my head, I don't know if it was told to me or I just assumed that it's more thriller type story. But the thing was, like, back when I did Umineko last year, I did Umineko first because in my knowledge of things, I knew just by osmosis, like, I knew more about Umineko, or I've heard about Umineko way more than I have ever heard about Higurashi. So that's why, like, there's people like, well, why'd you start with Umineko first? And it's like, well, that's just because, like, honestly, at the time, I was like, well, what if I bounce off of it, or I don't like it, or I finish it, and then I'm like, I don't want to do Higurashi. I just knew that, in my opinion, of people that I knew and stuff, like, Umineko was more talked about favorably, just not necessarily comparing it to Higurashi, but I had always heard about Umineko more and just how loved it was. So I thought once I was like, well, I'm going to do Higurashi, then I was like, we got to go backwards. We got to go backwards to go forward. What I heard, which you should probably know, is that it starts way slower than Umineko. Yeah, but also like that doesn't scare me. Not to say that I'm like built different, but I am built different. And like slow games, like slow starting games, like or things like don't. And the reason I say that is because like not only do I not personally care, like I know like it's going to at some point pick up or whatever, but also like I always say it's like as a general rule of the channel, even if we're just not even talking about visual novels like Umineko or Higurashi, just any games that are like, oh, be warned, it starts slow, it doesn't really matter to me because, like I said, as a general rule on the channel, when I start things, I do research into them before I start them. And so, like, and when I start something, I almost always guarantee to, like, try to see it to the end. So I'm generally not fazed by games or visual novels or anything that are like, oh, it's going to be slow, watch out, because I do enough research beforehand where I'm like, make sure I know I'm committing to something that I'm going to see the end of, if that makes sense. And I'm built different. Can't stress that enough. I'm also slow. I'm also slow to start, you know? Whatever that means to you. I don't have any other announcements, but just getting back to what I said at the start is, again, the channel would be a channel here, and I would probably have yeah, I probably would have still done it 6 years, whether anyone else was watching or not. But like I said, I always say it's a nice cherry on top if any video or anything or any stream or whatever or series or whatever is appreciated or liked, or was someone gets as simple as a chuckle out of one moment, then that's just icing on the cake, as I say. So 6 years, don't know how much longer. I don't need to wield as a threat, but 6 years is pretty dope for a project that I see. I look at this as a project, as far as it's gonna have an ending date at some point. But I never 6 years ago would I have thought I would have made it 6 years. So for sure, I think I said it a while ago. I'm honestly surprised. I thought I was gonna go 1 year and then be like, that was a fun year. And then I just ramped it up after a year, so it's cool. It's cool.